the
intro?
they're going to
Okay,
see us now. Yeah.
let's just. Greetings, sweet dear ones, sweet dearly beloveds. Welcome to Huna TV. It's an honor to be here with our special guests. And if you have questions, we'll do our best to answer them. This is live and interactive. Huna TV at the House of Huna. Welcome to you all. And we look forward to being with you here. Enjoy. Sweet dear ones. And yeah, I'll get a kick out of that intro. Sweet dear ones, welcome to Huna TV again. And my beautiful, wonderful guest, Catherine Edwards, and also Miki, Michelle Klann will be along shortly. I guess I sent out fry bread time. So a little bit of a mix in my end, but anyway, I'm glad Catherine's here. Miki should be along shortly, and holding it down, Huna Tamaake, and it's her birthday today. We just had a birthday party.
Happy birthday!
Thank you.
What a great day to have a birthday.
Yeah.
Beautiful day today, so sunny. And we went to her favorite place, which is a place called Chez Celine, which has the most delectable tiramisu.
Yes.
And creme brulee. So we had a good time. Now, I didn't have a turtle pinata for you.
It's all right.
I didn't get you a turtle pinata because you're a turtle today, aren't you?
Yes.
Your birthday's on the turtle. For those who are curious, we have a different birthday system going here. one you might know, one you might remember, but it's all good. Everybody here knows Catherine Edwards, Huna Kawahori, and getting more and more used to you, Huna. I'm just so used to calling you Huna, you know?
Yeah, I love it. I love my Huna name. And you've also very lucky because you've been joined by Pumpkin here on the desk and Idris on my lap. So they're very interested in joining us all today as well.
Amazing family. I remember them.
Yes, they're looking forward to another trip from you soon, Huna.
Well, yeah, I'm going to be hitting your way tomorrow in the land of Avalon tomorrow, so in Cornwall. Maybe they'll feel the energies. You know, so much, I mean, this is kind of a cliche. So much energy is happening in this month. And all months, this whole year, right? Kicking off. And it's kind of a cliche, really, if I just say, wow, the energies are just so overwhelming, overpowering. What else you gonna say? You know, what else can you say? People are needing really heavy sleeping. There's heavy sleeping going on. Exhaustion. There's a mix of exhaustion. There's a mix of excited energy, and people are running hard and people are sleeping hard. You know, and so at the details of these things, right down at the fractal level, at the atomic level, what can we speak to that has and they kind of summarize and not in a general way, but summarize, if we can pick this apart a little bit, you know, if we can pick it apart a little bit, like when you say there's all these energies and so overwhelming, and people are sleeping, people are energizing. What does that mean at those deep levels? What when we go to look for the symptoms, we dig right into the symptoms, or we dig right into, people's missions and how they're aligning to certain what's the word? Certain completions. It might be in the financial world, might be in the health world, spiritual world, cosmic world, starships, underwater world, all these different worlds, and everybody's got their hands and their fingers and they're part of each of these different things. Some in multiple areas, and some in just what they can handle or what they are connecting to. And can we kind of, in a way, pull them apart and summarize them in some way? There are so many topics, right? There are so many topics. There's the topics. If we just go and look at the news today, not like many of us don't really like looking at the news. I don't blame you. But what I mean, if you even just to pay attention, not necessarily to, be turned by it, but just to pay attention what is being said and spoken. You don't have to be of it, but to sort of compare notes, your notes. Let's just say you were on a mission to Pluto, right? And Pluto's now in the field, right? Pluto's coming up in the planetary movements right now. That's been spoken of. If you were on a mission to dissolve the banks and dissolve the banking system and to pull down the banking system, if part of that was your mission, then that's been very important for this past month. It's been important for the past number of years, but let's just speak to this month, for instance. If you were on a mission, or if you were part of your ceremony and so on and so forth was to do with certain codes entering into the atmosphere. Maybe you have water codes, hurricane codes, earthquake codes. Perhaps you were part of all of these. I think I'd like to break that down, and maybe we can break it down into certain weeks, or certain days over this past month. I think we're close. I think we're paying enough attention that we can see clearly, what has been taking place. There's so much clarity now. Not just about people waking up, sweet dear ones, but about because there are some that are aware but not awake, and there are some that are fully awake, and there are some pretending they're awake. Can I say that? I don't mean to be rude or mean or anything like. I'm not trying to put anybody down, but these things are happening. And it was interesting that some of it was happening in this past month, certainly these past couple of years, right? A lot of fake stuff going on. And then I look at, one instance, with the grams of instant, Instagram. And I'm like, I made a comment to someone the other day, and I'm saying, didn't you just say that the other day and last week? And this same kind of message is going around in a circle, almost the same words. And the person was rather upset that I made a comment to that. I wasn't trying to troll anybody, but I've been watching certain young adults, Huna. There are certain young adults that it's a bit stereotypical of me, and maybe even a little bit mean of me. I don't mean to be, but it's just happening that a group of young adult women are really storming in on Instagram with one-liner messages, and they mean well. Of course, they mean well. I don't mean that they don't mean well, but I'm seeing a pickup, a build-up of young adult women, and maybe in their 20s, mid-20s, a lot of them, because when I unfollow or I turn that one off, boom, there's another one. I did it like 5 times the other day, and then another one popped in, virtually the same messages. Trust your dreams. The way to Lemuria is through this, or the very similar one-liners in their vocabulary. The vocabulary is the same. I'm not trying to be mean. I'm just pointing that out because I'm noticing this. And then so that's something that surely we can talk about and summarize. And then there's also there are countries taking it back. And the whole theme of taking it back, returning it or bringing it back, and undoing what was done, and then disconnecting, detaching, and pulling all their stuff back. Like, for instance, Africa. So look, this was happening this month in March. This was happening in this moment of huge energies going on. Then there was a solar flash that the scientists didn't pick up on, but it came in before they had picked up on it. It just came in and it hit. And then, of course, the aurora borealis, it shone all the way from Greenland down to Tennessee, into the southern states. You could see it from Tennessee.
Wow.
Yeah, then they showed the image of it, and it for me it brought up another kind of checklist thing about flat Earth. Right? And flat Earth has been going crazy again this past month, and so my thought was, if you can see the aurora borealis in Tennessee, then the planet is a sphere. Because if it was flat, and that's 7,000 miles away from Tennessee, you're not going to see the aurora borealis, right? Unless it's like a page being folded where you can meet it. So there's a spherical horizon, and it just jumps over the horizon. So that was coming on too, and there were so many more pushing that agenda of the flat Earth, and then that came along, and then so with all of these topics, all of these what's a word, not just energies.
It's almost like a lot of different agendas going on, I see it as, and which ones are people going to focus on? I mean, from everything you said there, it's fascinating what's going on, and it's a bit like when you do a book club. You can have 10 of you that all read the same book, but you'll all come out, you'll all pick and focus on completely different things depending where your attention and your energy is and where you're resonating with. And one of the things from what you were just saying there that really springs to mind for me, Honu, is that we all know from quantum physics about the observer effect, and just by us focusing our attention on certain things will change their reality. And for me, that's really a time of what we're being shown now. And you can have, like in the UK, there's lots and lots of thoughts happening at the moment, in terms of people standing up and protesting, but you're only going to see that if that's where your attention goes, if that's where your focus goes. And I think this is, for me, what's so important for people is to really think, where am I putting my attention and a focus? Because that's what's going to amplify in my reality. And at the end of the day, that's what we can really control in terms of our reality, of what we're contributing and what we're seeing in the world.
Right. I mean, part of that, the overarching theme, and then themes within it that we're connected to, I feel that, like, even in the physics side of things, when it said that, once you turn to look at something, it's changed. Well, here's another thing. If I'm looking in the other direction, and my thought, my memory of what was over there, and I'm looking that way, and my memory remembers what was over there, has it changed? And I remember, like this said, oh, that curtain's there. And now I'm going to look over here. Is the curtain still there? Yeah, it is, because my memory says it was there a second ago, so it's still there. So there's this physical reality, and there's the quantum reality, and there's this connection with all these different themes. There's this consciousness connection, and there are two answers with the of course multiple answers, multiple directions, multiple threads on the one, with the one perspective, even, or let me say, if I can say that, with the one perspective. And as we're looking through these different instances that we're having over this past month, which one affects you? Has one affected you more than the other? Because they're of course, we all tune into certain things. Of course, all of these things affect us. I'm curious as to the timing and the synchronization of things that are happening between at the micro level with each other. This alignment and synchronization thing that's been happening, well, for a while, but to kind of chat about and pick up on in this call. Now, as usual, we will have a question. This is live and interactive. Invite Tamake to put up a question if one comes up, and then invite those to come in. And then Miki hasn't arrived yet, of course, but she will, which might be okay too, because as Huna is answering a question, at least this time, this time forward, and this is not this bumping along there, clashing. So just if anybody has a question here, summarizing. Now, for me, it's like today, like this month, we've had 2 birthdays on the Huna. Of course, on the Honu Motu. Of course, that's just everybody has a birthday on, some millions have a birthday on the same day. We've been getting a whole bunch of birthdays for this past month and the last month. Just seems like more than usual. More parts, more fractal pieces clicking together. Of course, we should all have just one big birthday, right? I would love that. And why not? And why not take all of that individualism and then see to it as one, as what we are aspiring to do. Anyway, but in this summary, do you have any information on your side? I know, let me just check the UK, because aren't they not espousing now to they're putting more restrictions on you guys, are they not, in the UK?
Not in my world, not that
they were trying.
I think this is where, for me, it's even how you opened up the show, Huna, by saying about the energies can be overwhelming. And I think, for me, really being conscious of our words. And if you say it will be. And if you say it's not, it won't be. What do we want our realities to be? What do we want our energy levels to be? So I'm not seeing any extra restrictions going on in the UK. There's lots of terms about the 15-minute cities and things like that. But there's also loads of protests. We've had in London that today, we've had yesterday vaccine injured protests. We've had truck drivers and tractors going around there to say this is ridiculous, all these low emissions zones. So you can focus in and home in on what's going to support your view of reality, or you can focus in and home in on what you don't want. And I'm very consciously choosing what I do want to focus in, and that's where I'm putting my energy. So For me, this time of year and spring, you know, I'm outside, as you know, you've been to mine, and the bunnies have been born, the young animals are all being born, the flowers are springing up. It's such a time of renewal. And what do we want to plant in our gardens? What do we want to grow? I'm not negating the fact that bad things happen. They do happen. But at the end of the day, for me, it's a bit like, what can you change and what do you want to change and where are you going to put your energy? Because if we're looking at communities, for me, I think also really valuing everyone's individual strengths within that and making sure we all play on our strengths and understand what part we're playing in it and who else can we have in our global community to fill in the bits where we might be weaker. And when you look at any animal herd in the wild, there's never one leader. The leadership changes depending what the challenge at hand might be. So there might be one leader of a horse herd that's very good at finding water, and one that's very good at spotting predators, and one that's very good at finding the best grazing. It's not, you know, everyone recognizes and steps into their power when it's their time to do, and they're very happy to follow others who've got more wisdom for the particular stage that they're at on right here, right now, in the present moment.
Yes, as you're saying that, so many so many attacks are happening, and at the same, I mean, attacks by these energy attacks on those who are focused in on certain things, and then there's also successful missions having taken place. There's been some successes. I guess that's why I'm asking and kind of try to understand, to summarize this month, because there have been more successes, I feel, than losses in terms of how we're all connecting and focusing on certain things that we want to focus on, or we feel to focus on. For instance, success is the breaking down and the pulling down of the banking system, the changing the banking, the fractal reserve banking system. How many have been focused on that? How many have been doing ceremonies for this? Of course, many. And actual very specific ceremonies focused on certain areas. Some focused on Switzerland, some focused on Area 51, some focused on the Zurich, and of course the Bank of International Settlements, really blasting at it with their energies, be that love, be whatever ceremonies they're doing, really blasted their way at that for this past, and let me say 9 years, I'm going to say 9 years, just really blasting away at it. And look at it. It's falling apart. And they are really, who are they? Well, the ones that like it, who've been stealing the money from it, the energies from it. They are right on they're hanging on by the skin of their nose, trying to hold it all together. And they're putting more pressure on the global community in terms of inflation and raising interest rates. And they're the way they're fighting back is to put more squeeze on it until what's going to happen? It's going to break, which is, as far as I'm concerned, that's part of the things that I was involved in, to help it break so it can be reset in the proper way, in a way. And now when you're saying everybody is doing focusing on their things, absolutely. These are, and I'm seeing them in a way, I'm seeing them like as the tribes. Right? There is this thing now that's connected to, or coming to understand, of a multipolar civilization. Just as an understanding, my understanding is that we've gone from a monopolar, a one world ideal agenda and energies that support that, shifted over now to a multipolar world, which is important. And that's being backed up by the energies of who? BRICS. The BRICS nations now all signing on to all the countries are signing on to do business together kind of tribes, intertribal, in other words, with each other. Those who want to be together, those who enjoy working together. And for instance, Saudi Arabia, Iran, and Iraq. Now, I'm not just kind of talking about politics. I'm talking about the tribes coming together. Because these are enemies, these guys. These tend to be enemies for thousands of years, right?
Mm.
Now they're pooling all of their resources to support the other international countries that are not involved in, that are not monopolar. In other words, one world. They are multipolar, multiple worlds within the worlds. And, multiple worlds that actually want to do things together and create life and feed the world and feed the people. They actually do. India being one of them as well, right? And China even. No matter what's been said about China, there's a whole nother side of it when you're talking about the Chinese people, Chinese People's Republic, which is not the CPP. Quite an opposite thing. And they're all getting on. Look, they just signed a deal with Russia. And I'm not talking politics, sweet dear ones. I'm talking about this energy of them creating a multipolar global community where all tribes are working together instead of all tribes fighting. And they figure through this BRICS financial system, which has been around for a while, is finally making its way through. Now, we're hoping that the Western system will break down, so those in the West, which is England, United States, and the EU, will come along to it, because they are being right now, the population in BRICS is about 60-70% of the planet, maybe even 80% of the planet wants it, and only 20-30% of the planet is pushing against it. What have you got there?
I've got the two cats kissing each other. Sorry to interrupt,
Oh.
but it's adorable. They're agreeing with you. They're agreeing.
Yeah, two tribes joining in a multipolar.
Yeah.
And so that happened this month. That happened just, Saudi Arabia just happened a week ago, a little more than a week ago. And that has changed. That has changed the playing field. Playing field. That's changed everything in a huge way for the very near future. Okay. So if anybody has a question to this, why don't you come on and jump on and join us? Huna Tamake will bring the link. Share the link with you on the comments. Let's just take a quick. What do we commit? Oh, we already got someone right there. Okay, here you go, Huna. Mataho Manu from Germany. Hello, brother. Good to see you. Can you hear us?
Hey, how are you?
I'm good. Hey, how are you? Hey, how are you?
Yes, I can hear you just fine.
Are you 5x5 there, Mataho?
So my question was, how do you stay in joy with knowing about all these financial systems going on and, all that behind the scenes, also to share with my people around here? Since I'm in Frankfurt, Germany, with the European Central Bank and all of that, how do you basically still stay in joy?
Would you like to answer that?
Yeah, I'll say some of my thoughts on that. Well, first and foremost, I would say that nothing we see on the news is what's really happening. So, in my opinion, I think we all need to be really, really careful by thinking we know things are going on. If it's on the mainstream media, I would be 100% suspicious of whether that's really happening. So for me, about how I stay in joy is multifaceted. So first and foremost, what is really happening that you are seeing with your own eyes and in your own community is really, really key. Yes, we need to be aware of world events, but if there's one thing we've really learned over the last few years is to be really cautious about where we're getting that information from, because even on the alternative media, there's a lot of what I would call Chinese whispers with the blind leading the blind on there. So I think it's really important to actually stay grounded and see what is actually affecting you in your day-to-day life. And also for me, I would say looking for where in your life you've got abundance, because we tend to think of abundance just being financial, but picking something that really, really is abundant in your life. Have you got loving family? Have you got a safe roof over your head? Are you still able to get food? Are you connecting, whether it's locally or globally, with like-minded people that are raising you up energetically, emotionally, physically? So for me, we can always find abundance somewhere. And if one area, if say, for example, we're struggling financially, then I would be looking to shift my focus into, where am I abundant in my life? Am I healthy? Are my family healthy? Because where we put our attention, I really do believe and have seen from experience, that's what we're going to draw into ourselves. So I think I've heard so much of this about what might or might be happening between alliances with different people, between what's happening with the banking system. And I'm absolutely not saying it's not happening. What I'm saying is history has proven that what we're told is not reflective of what's really happening at all. And I really believe that's the case of what we're seeing now. So for me, trusting, concentrating on how you can create abundance in any area of your life right here, right now, and passing it forward, and be very open to receiving as well. You know, who have you got in your life that will share things that you need, whether it's love, whether it's encouragement, whether it's food, whether it's a new skill or whatever. So that's where I would be starting.
Such a beautiful answer. Thank you.
Thank you. Great question.
I'd like to touch on that. What do you do, right, with all of that stuff happening? Well, yeah, of course, find the authentic intelligence, the intel. You know, follow the authentic information as best you can, for sure. Not on the mainstream media, but we have so much media now in our alternative internet intelligence, let's say. There's even families on the ground. You know, we have family members connected. We're going through family intelligence, right? There you go, family intelligence. What can you do when you see some of this intelligence? I'm like anticipation, brother. I have anticipation. I'm like, whoa, let's go, baby. Like, let's go. So what am I going to do about it? I don't care. I'm going to eat everything I can. I'm going to share and cook for as many as I can. I will continue to cook. I will continue to help people, house people, give a bed, help a brother out, help a sister out. I will continue to, the House of Huna is always open. You know, 2 Hunas here right now visiting, Huna Kahiwaha, Kahiwahu, who might say hello. But also just keep moving in that anticipation that things are all coming to pieces, and we're going to have an opportunity very shortly to reset, rebuild in a way where it will be authentic to our families, our tribes. Like I was saying, I would say, of course, to just echo everything that Huna was speaking. And then on top of that, I'm excited anyway. I'm an excited person. I want you to be excited about these things. Take a little look at what's getting pulled down over there in the mainstream media and what they're saying, and then bounce it off your intelligence. Make some decisions here. You know who to listen to. Everybody knows, who's the fake media, and even on the fake social media. So, but stay pumped up. Somehow stay pumped up. If it takes getting together and gathering in groups, excuse me, bumping my mic, getting together with the Hunas, getting together with 1 or 2 or 3 or more, get out and do some ceremonies together, just ceremonies with the good word. Hey, come say hello. And the good word, and gifting crystals, gifting love. Then you're looking everywhere. Just look right here. Right. Right. Yeah. This is Huna Kahiwaha
in town.
Victoria House from Vancouver Island, Canada.
That's
Nice.
right. The breath work of joy.
That's right. You're right. Nice to see you.
Amazing.
you-
Hi.
So yeah, House of Huna is open. Last night I cooked dinner. I mean, I cook all the time, brother. Do you cook? I know you cook. You
Of
got
course,
a
I
family.
love to cook. Yes, yes, yes.
Yeah, you cook. I cook anything I can find.
Yeah, that actually, well, that's also one of the things, surrounding yourself with good food, food that's healthy, that's serving the body, that's serving the mission overall as well. Getting in touch with the earth, sharing, of course, experiences that are of joy. Today I had a beautiful sharing of acro yoga, which was, just incredible. So I can see that, for me, it's really, how do I share with other people also this joy, even though the financial system is still debt-based, but I think this higher vision of seeing, okay, there is this future where it is going in a direction of more sovereignty, of more, it's a different energy actually. And we have this time now where we can give it a different kind of feeling behind it, as we still know that it's completely out of thin air. That's at least how the European Central Bank works. So that for me is also a hopeful thing.
Yeah, absolutely. I know that over there in Germany, the Deutsche Bank is facing some going to be pulled down if they're, and be brought out by UBS. I heard, so, and that's on the Intel side. So, yeah, it's crazy. Things are being, but this is a summary of this past month of what has taken place. Those things have taken place. Is it the same as the month before that? Right? We use the same. I mean, Huna's right. We use the same process of what she is speaking to. Same process, day in, day out, every month. Stay excited, stay pumped, little authentic intelligence. And hey, come and see each other. Like I'm flying to the UK tomorrow. Right? I might have a theme. I've got a theme. I always have a theme. You guys know I always have a theme. I'm not gonna just go with no theme. I've got to fly on the wings of a theme. So fly on the wings of your theme. What is your theme for the month or next month? Or if you got events, put a really incredible theme to your event. Let it be profound, and then get on the wings of that theme and get on the plane or on a train and go and show up. What that does, it is inspiring others that you just showed up. I'm not a corporation with deep pockets. I'm a shaman. Hello. No, get by with love and donations here and there, but always gifting. My hands are like this. Receive and give. My hands are like this. This is the abundance right here for sure.
Yeah.
I think that's it. And I'm like, wow, that's after 30 years, and I'm still getting out. We're still getting out there. They tried to infect us. They tried to stick a needle in me. It just didn't work, and we're still going, right? I think that's inspiring.
Yes.
I think you guys are so inspiring, and I think all those that are pumped up and excited are so inspiring, and they're not looking at all the dreary, sad, and sorrow and painful stuff, but just getting on with it. Well, that's an old rugby saying in the UK as well. We're just going to get on with this. An Irish saying as well, and the Scottish, you also, and us, the Kiwis, and we're just going to get on with this. Come on, let's go. Right?
Well, I like to sometimes, or at least I feel like it's really important to feel. And then when you can feel, you can also transform it. And so that's why I think the joy for me is like when I feel the joy, then I can't feel the sadness, even though sometimes they're very close. And that's the transforming process for me to also get back into the light.
So that's a wonderful question, and the best we can answer with, I suppose, is something that we've always done. What are you gonna do when you're broke? What are you gonna do when you got nothing? Right? You at least be someone who is liked and be likable.
Yeah.
And give to each other in whatever way you can, because there's no such thing as money.
Or you realize you are enough. Yes.
Yeah,
You are everything. Yeah.
absolutely.
Yeah.
And I also think it's a really timely reminder, for certainly for me at the moment, that for all of us not to be so focused on what the glorious stuff might be coming that we forget to really be here, right now. You know, at the end of the day, anything that we worry that might happen tomorrow, it's just a guess. We don't know. We really don't know. So, you know, like the saying is, can you change it? If you can, do something about it. If you can't, there's no point worrying about it. And it sounds so simple. I know when we get to adults, it's very different, but most lessons in life that mean something really are that simple. How can we show up today that we're going to sort of put our head on the pillows at the end of the day and think, I did well today. I helped. I was the type of person that I would want to be friends with.
Exactly. Be likable.
Oh, yes.
Absolutely. Wonderful answers.
Yeah, I'm coming into my birthday month, and it's the laughing gecko also.
Oh,
So this
right.
is also kind of the big loop, let's say, you know, all the way around. So
You're
I'm
going to
really
bring
excited.
smile.
That's right. Bring the joy.
You're going to bring
to
the joy.
invite to your party.
Yes, of course. You're all invited. Come to Frankfurt, Germany.
Frankfurt, I'll be in Germany after the UK, so perhaps I'll get to see you. Could stop by and do a drive-by, fly-by.
Flyby has a better ring than a drive-by.
Yeah.
We have another question. We've got Randy waiting in the wings there. Thank you, Huna, and thank you for the answers too.
Great question.
Miki is just saying, okay, she's checking out the link, I guess, and we'll see her pop in. Let's bring Randy into the stream.
Aloha, my brother.
Aloha, brother. And Randy is a regular. He likes popping in with the occasional questions, and he don't stay too long too. So I don't mind bringing it.
Oh, it's all good, brother. So listen, I love the light show going on behind your left shoulder there. You got like two little orbs that have just been dancing the whole time. You know, so and the truth is, you are an inspiration to me. You help give me hopium to get through all this craziness that's going on right now. So I appreciate you, and you know, love and blessings to all the sweet, sweet dear ones out there too, who are spreading their love and light.
Yes. Thank you for that. And yes. Go ahead. Do you have a question there, Randy?
Well, I was just wondering, you know, we just had that huge solar storm come, and you know, KP index got up to 8, and we also had you know, the Schumann resonance was up over 57, 58 hertz or something like that. Could you address, you know, these possible energies that are affecting us with, you know, especially considering, I guess, Pluto is in Aquarius now, which is a serious time of changes. And, you know,
Right.
maybe touch upon these subjects for a minute.
Let's just really quickly, as we're going to answer that, we welcome Miki to the Huna TV. Welcome, Miki.
Thanks.
Sweet dear ones. Thank you for being here. Amazing.
Thanks so much for having me, Huna. It's such a pleasure to meet you officially, finally.
Yes, it's been a minute, and
Hi,
I apologize.
Catherine. Hi, Randy.
Hi.
Aloha.
We have a live and interactive situation here, Miki. So when people ask a question, they have to come on and show their face and have the courage to be seen, because we all want to see each other, right? We're asking to be seen, and they're wonderful and brave, the sweet dear ones that come along and they'll ask a question. And so now that you're here, thank you. Did you hear that question? Maybe we can invite you to be the first one to speak to that. And he was talking about the Schumann resonance, and this is a kind of the theme today is like summarizing what's been taking place in March and what are any synchronizations, any kind of light codes that seem to match any very incredible, profound situations where perhaps planets are connecting to your ceremony, it's connecting to certain intentions. If we can even get to that deep, I mean, because I know that's a pretty deep thing. But Randy was asking about the Sherman field. Perhaps you have perhaps you can speak to that somehow for this past month.
I would love to. Well, first of all, Randy, I would like to ask you a question in return. What does it mean for you that Pluto is in Aquarius?
Well, I'm not an astrologer or anything, so I don't not too, but they say it is a time of great change. And this hasn't happened since back when the Declaration of Independence was written. So those types of energies apparently are coming in at this time, which is part of the change that's going on with the banks collapsing and all this wonderful stuff that is going to occur to bring down these demonic entities that have been controlling things.
Yeah.
Like, what is that? I can just hear that sound.
Where that's coming from.
Not me.
Yeah, well, first of all, I would say this is that we live in a mentalist reality, which means if you can imagine it, it's happening. And one of the most beautiful things I think about this awakening is that a lot of the divine feminines woke up first, which means if they can start to envision new earth and a new life in a new way, it's already happening. Because we live in a hologram and everything comes from what we believe is possible and what we believe is real. And so whatever you read into these things, as in new beginnings, etc., is exactly what you're meant to see right now.
Cool.
Yeah. I saw something the other day, if I could share with a young, where the question was, do we create in this reality so we can use it and be with it in the dream world?
Yeah, I mean, that's what's so amazing is that we didn't know the power of our minds. We had no idea that the power of our collective thought is so much more powerful than the dark. So when I say control system, like if you guys think just for a hot second about how much energy it would have taken for this darkness to come consume the whole earth and every bank and keep us in a state of total like low frequency, low vibration without even knowing what we're capable of. Think of the sheer amount of energy that would take. And when we start to open up our spirituality, we start to open up our third eye, we start to call in, because see, this reality doesn't care what we call in. If we create demand for demons, demons will come. If we create demand for the light will come. When we start to envision and accept the divine intervention that's happening right now, it will happen so fast. It's because nature wants to find that way. It wants to find that synchronicity, that perfect way, again, that natural way. And that's why you could literally work out for 15 hours a day, lay down and relax for 30 minutes and unwind everything, because the body wants to be in a state of homeostasis. It wants to be in a state of rest, relax. It doesn't want to be at war anymore. We're ready to come through and come out strong.
Huna Kawahori, what do you think?
I am opening up and accepting all the energies and everything that comes to me, and I'm choosing to accept and embody it. And I've never felt more vibrant. I'm not getting tired. I've got so much energy. I've got so much enthusiasm. I'm changing the way that I interact to situations really, really quickly now. Lifelong lessons that I've known about and known intellectually are all integrating really easily now. So I'm just open to accepting all this good that's coming. I feel the energies. I mean, today where I was, you can see my cat's going mad here. If my computer suddenly disappears, you know why. But, noticing the birds, there's birds everywhere. The geese are going wild. I mean, my garden, I've got 5 cats. I've still got hundreds of birds of all these different species in there. There is abundance everywhere you look when you choose to look it. So I can feel the energies, and I'm just grateful for all of them, taking them on board, using them, sharing them, and enjoying it.
I think that, in general, as a general overall study of it, this is exactly what all of you are saying. And I want to go a little bit deeper. Can I go a little bit deeper on this? Randy, can I get a little deeper on this? What do you think?
Hallelujah, brother.
I think I can,
Well,
So
down with your bad
it might be a little bit up here, but just let that go for a second and just come with me into the consciousness and some of the teachings, and because there's some teachings in here There's some knowledge and wisdom in this, no matter what matrix you're in. Everything is a matrix anyway. It's your intention that creates how you're going to flow through it, right? Is what we're saying in general. So when it comes to Pluto, on the Lemurian side, we would not say Pluto. We would say Kata'al. Okay? Kata'al. So I'm going to just go a little bit deeper into energies here, into the light language of Lemuria, the language that we all spoke before Atlantis. This is part of remembering, and this is part of creating the seamless walls between the dream world and now, between breaking them down, and everything is in the dream world, and it is the dream world. And so when I say Kata'al, it replaces Pluto. Kata'al, first birth, first stone of the world. Okay? And Kata'al also refers to the energy of water. Okay? And Pluto is a stone planet of ice. It is the energy of ice, the energy of water is also ice. So I cannot just sit with that for a second, in spite of all of that. Have we been speaking to it, speaking about it? Okay, we're speaking about it. We've got to come to a point where we can speak right in it. Right? We are speaking about it. There is speaking about it, which is kind of macro in a way. And the micro is speaking right what it is. And so let's say if you said the words Pluto, so I'm going to say Kata'al, okay, so which refers to the energy of water. Then the other thing that came up why is it a specific alignment? Why is it a specific special time in a moment? Well, it has to do with the alignments to Venus, Saturn, and Jupiter. But again, I'm not going to say Venus, and I'm not going to say Jupiter, and I'm not going to say Saturn. I'm going to speak to the energy. And so I'm going to say, to speak to those energy, Venus as Tu'ahi. Tu'ahi, Venus 1. Tu-Po, Venus 2. Okay, because Venus is a twin star energy. And it is within those energies of the feminine. When what Miki was saying about the feminine and these energies go way back into Lemurian times, it's 600 million years before Atlantis. Think about that for a second in human terms. And in the way we're sharing energy of the micro, talking about the things. Now let's talk to the thing. And when we talk to the thing, we have to go into the sound and the which is, of course, omnipresent in the all-nows. Still, you'll feel the energy when we speak Ta'al, Tu'ahi, Tu-Po, and Parero, which is Jupiter and Saturn with Earth, with the Earth in the middle. And this is a very special time, and it's a very special procession. A very special procession. One happened recently, was a very important procession of the 3 moons. Procession. So, okay, now we speak directly into it. What is this procession bringing in terms of at the micro level and the fractal level? The fractal level. Because when we speak our light language and it's translatable and you know how to translate it and you can share, well, Venus is spoken of as Tu'ahi. What are you talking about, Huna? Well, you speak Tu'ahi. It's about standing in the light. And Venus is also Tu-Po. What do you mean? What are you talking about, Tu-Po? What is that? Standing in the dark. And what Miki has said about you can do the light, you can do the dark. Well, okay, so speaking directly to the activation of the energies to initiate it is to speak directly into its fractal energy. And this is a kind of a summarizing. Now, if we sit with that for a second or a moment, I see Miki is fractalizing right now.
Yes, she is.
There's something going on with your screen.
Sorry.
You're becoming mini. Oh, it's all good. But do you understand what I'm getting at? It doesn't shift your consciousness. This is some other knowledge of things that, okay, this perspective. when we are trying to understand ourselves, what are we doing today? What are we doing to stuff? What's going on around here? What should I connect to? What should I let go of? Right? Because that's all that stuff that's going on, masculine or feminine. It doesn't matter. Everybody's got to let go of stuff. But then there's still some of the things about there's questions about why, how. Information is going around and around in circles, sometimes in general terms. We want to speak to it and not about it. And so the summary for Pluto for March is aligned to the water energy, of course, and either stand in the light or stand in the dark. Allow Parero, which Saturn is spoken of as Ro, which means Sky Father, in all its dimensions, upper and lower. And Pa is speaking to Jupiter in all of her dimensions, because it's a feminine energy. It goes either higher or lower. Where is Earth in all of this? Right in the middle, which is Re. When we say Parero, we say Re because Earth is between all those planets or those energies, those giants, gifting the energy back to us. What is it? Gifting the energy back to humanity, but to our systems. What we were just talking about earlier about our resetting to multipolar civilizations rather than a monopolar, rather than the one world concept. We are many worlds on this planet, and we are many families and many in the one and one in the many, which is what Huna means. Exactly that, one in the many in the one. And so summarizing March this way, and to your question, does that help?
Yeah, I guess it does.
Does that bring you to energy? Does that bring you to the vibration? Does it bring you to frequency? There's a whole nother thing to think about, right? What I just said. Language-wise, certainly. Right? I don't know. Maybe.
Tell
Yeah,
us
sometimes
more about Saturn. I studied that it's father time, but it's not a father. Is it a feminine or masculine planet?
it's a masculine energy. It speaks to Sky Father, meaning
Sky
the
Father.
the energy of the expanse of space, and it pulls all that energy in and gives it. Imagine if we just parked Earth next to Saturn and next to Jupiter. Imagine what would happen. It would warp our space and almost crush this planet if we got too close to it. Right. So, but the feeling for that is Father will give his light and Mother will give her light too. Just enough of it, right? And we got enough of it this March, and certainly with the solar energy that came in. I hope that helps. Great question. There's a lot to it. I get a little bit crazy, but let's continue on. I want to. Do we have another question out there, Randy? Thanks so much, brother.
Thank you, brother.
You're always solid every weekend. Good to see you. So yes. So Miki, just a little bit about yourself, if you don't mind, while we're waiting, and I hope you can still hang with us, Huna. Kawahori, I know it's 11 o'clock for you now.
Yeah, it's about 10 past 11, so I'll be another 10 minutes, and then I'd better go in because I've got a very early start tomorrow. Yeah.
Oh, that's great. And maybe Miki can hang out a little bit longer before we shut it down.
I feel bad. So I did get the time wrong. I thought no one was. I thought I didn't change my clocks.
It's all good. I think I sent out the wrong message, I think.
Oh, okay. No worries.
Or maybe
Sorry, Catherine. I know it's late there.
No worries.
Maybe it was the right message for the right timing. Anyway.
Yeah.
If you could introduce yourself a little bit, Miki, to my audience, the sweet, sweet daily beloveds here.
Aw. Wow.
It's time.
What do I say? About 2 years ago, I came out on the truther scene with Story of the Stars and the Book of Revelation, and how it seemed as though the prophecy in the Book of Revelation was coming true. And I laid out all of the events as they occurred in the stars and the heavens, all of the events as they were planned out or as they were prophesied in the Book of Revelation, and then everything that Trump had done to get every country to capitulate from 2012 on to about 2021. And that then ended up just sort of starting me in the truther scene. I started to kind of decode and look at a lot of lucky number 17 drops and all that stuff with Jason Q, etc. And then my journey took me kind of in a different a completely different path when my children were masked for a year and a half in the school system, and I couldn't take it anymore, Huna. And so I started trying to connect to the secrets of the universe to try to reverse that and to try to free our children. And it was one of the most amazing, spectacular things to see all the moms stepping up and using bonds to get their children free from masks at school. So that was kind of my big, and then that just kept taking me deeper and deeper and deeper in the matrix as I connected with so many amazingly powerful light workers that are code breakers and were able to sort of help me understand even deeper how much the manipulation has, sort of taken over our reality, taken over our news, taken over our government. And so since then, I've just been giving people pieces of information to help us all break from the matrix and to help it crumble, because I really, truly believe that anytime there's a transmission, like when there's divine intervention, we have to receive. If we don't receive it and we don't learn to stand in sacred honor, then it really wasn't time. And so we all know it is time. We all know that we're ready. We all know that we're ready to come up and out of this darkness, and that we're ready to shine as bright as we possibly can. And so it's intense. We all had to observe this. The universe has to observe itself in order to make improvements. And so we are here to observe, to understand how to avoid this in the future, for future generations to come, and obviously to create balance back in Mother Earth. So I don't know. I'm just excited to be here and along for the ride, Huna.
We certainly appreciate you. Just real quickly, how I connected to you, because I'm friends with Charlie, personal friends with Charlie Ward. We've been together a couple of times in meetings, physically meeting. Also David Mahoney, who is also a Huna Mareka, and he's been on Stargate journeys with some of my missions in the Stargates with me. He's filmed it. So those guys, I know you've done some decode with all of those guys, and I through them I happened to see you, and caught your transition. I saw the transition happening with actually saw the transition happening with Charlie and everybody else moved out of geopolitics and into the spirituality, because that's where you are the strongest. And I would always say to everybody, things don't change just physically. They are brought and changed. They're connected into the coding in the spiritual world or the dream world, and then the physical will follow. Huna Kawahore, is there anything you'd like to share before you go? I know you only have a few minutes.
No, it's been great being here with you all. And I think the only thing I would share is just be cautious where you put your attention and your energy. It's so important we're mindful of that. It's so important that we make deliberate choices there, because just like you were saying, Michelle, the time is definitely now, and we can't mess this up. We are going forward, we're not going back, and that takes each and every one of us to do our bit. So enjoy it, enjoy the journey. We've chosen to be here, and let's get creating.
Couldn't have said it better. Amazing. Let's create together. And so within the themes that I have running, I hope to connect with you again in the UK, Huna, over this. It's going to be tough this coming year. I will be in Japan and Mongolia in May.
Amazing.
It's possible sometime in after June, possible. Well, let me just bring her back in. I was just saying, Miki, that I'm hope to bump into Huna Kawahori once again when I'm in the UK. I leave to the UK tomorrow, actually, but we won't be able to meet, and maybe in a later date. And of course, what's happening in April? Well, in the Lemurian birth sign, it's the Honu Motu, which is the smiling gecko. The energy of joy is arriving in April, and this kind of a buildup. Like we're into the last couple of days, because we're a 28-day calendar in Lemuria. So we're coming to 28 days. The energy is just whack, moving, shifting over, and going to kick into a higher gear. I look forward to pulling that energy through into St. Michael's Mount this coming couple of days, where I will be at the castle. And hopefully, I was hoping you'd make it to Cornwall, but Maybe
Yeah, I would have loved to. Unfortunately, I've got some urgent things that mean I can't get away, but we will definitely be connecting this year. I know it. Yeah. And it's going to be an amazing trip. So any of you that can get down to Cornwall and join Huna and the others, do it. You won't regret it. It'll be an amazing experience.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. We shall see soon. Enjoy the rest of the show, you guys.
Thank
Bye,
you.
Catherine.
Bye.
Wawa. Let me just, there you go. So you're okay for a little bit longer, Miki?
Yeah, sure. Sorry about that. Again, like I said, all the time changes. I guess we mixed up the hours.
It is crazy. You know, it's been, I live in Playa del Carmen in Mexico. Okay. Time doesn't change here. They don't change. It stays EST, but it's kind of weird. The numbers change for everybody else.
Yeah, we don't change ours either in Arizona.
Right. And so when somebody says to me, "Oh, I'll change our numbers to this," and I'm thinking, "Oh, I need to change mine," then I forget, and I've already put out a message that something changed, and then I've messed it up.
Yeah, no worries.
It's too late. But if there's another question out there, sweet dear ones, yeah, come on in. We'll probably be good for the next 30 minutes or less. Miki, does that suit you?
Yeah, that sounds great.
And then I see.
I wanted to
question.
just second what you were saying
Yeah.
about the dream world. I don't think people had any idea how powerful the imagination is. And when you really just let go and let your imagination flow, it actually brings you back on your divine path. And I know we've all been taught to fear that, like fear dreaming, fear thinking big, fear what you could possibly be. But like we all have such a divine, perfect, beautiful path. And I'm coming into mine, so I can honestly say that nothing can stop what's coming, and it's all greatness. It's all going to be so glorious and so great. When you just let go and start meditating and let your imagination take over, it will bring you right back. It's like the circle of life through the path unwinding. It's that song by Elton John, you know, like Lion King.
Yeah, absolutely. Didn't he also sing a song with Islands in the Stream? Right?
Yes.
Or that's some other guy. No, that was Elton, right? You're absolutely right. The path unwinding is also how we speak to it in Lemurian, which means the undoing. Okay, the undoing. It's a reverse technology. It's actually a system that supports.
I wanted to talk to you about that. That was fascinating to me. You talked about how time is actually supposed to rotate counterclockwise.
Yeah, what the Draconians did for us as part of that, putting us to sleep, you know, operating on our tribes and our peoples through the Eden laboratories, the laboratories of Eden in the garden. Many times there are more than one or two, more than two Adams, more than two Eves. Huh? And so they put all these things there and programmed in the more modern times, like let's say the last 100 to 150,000 years, the coding was placed into us so that when it comes to a certain point, that will activate in the DNA, and the coding will lock into the trap loop time, right? It's not an unwinding, it's a spiral, but it's a trap loop. So what they did with the Roman clock tower, they spin time in the clockwise direction, and the energy goes in counterclockwise. So when they spin and give you they lock you into time, they send the energy in the other direction. They pull the energy away from you while locking you in. So you do this from January to June, and January through to June again. On both sides, it comes around, and you hit it June, and it pulls you back in again. Pulls your consciousness. It's a technology. It's a very powerful technology that we've known about. We have known that it's used in many planets, used in many ways for slavery. And so they send time in the clockwise where you will go, okay, wake up in the morning, 8 o'clock, got to go to work, pay the taxes and come home, feed the family, blah, 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 and go to bed by 9 o'clock, right? So it's like 9 to 9, not 9 to 5, it's like 9 to 9, right? They're taking over the universal code of 9, right? There are these pieces that are there. In general, we exactly what you say. We can make this world what we want it to be. However, some people who are stuck in this coding, in this system, the draconian system, I won't say Gregorian. I won't say Julian. I won't say Adam. I won't say the Jewish or even the Mayan, because they have codes from the Draconian stuck inside of it, caused a loop. Now, Lemuria.
Do you think that's also reincarnation loop?
No, I don't feel that is totally certain. There's certain souls or beings used to come in, walking in. That's where this walking in business, or birthing in and recycling through within that cycle. It's not actually, you're not going out of it, outside of light. You must go outside of light. We are outside of light till we come into light. And light is on the planet because it come into the light of days. Outside of light is in the darkness, in the warmth of the womb. Let's just say the universe has a womb. There's a terrestrial womb and a celestial womb. Well, where are you going? Right? We're at home anyway, wherever we are. It's like saying in the dream, you gotta, you have your awareness to where you want to be or what you want to build. And I'm always saying we're at home anyway. Okay, we're at home in the dark. I'm at home in the light. If there's a demon, and I've said there's this demon sitting to me, she's talking to me, and I'm giving him a noogie, and that's it. Or if he's not, then he can, go to the light, which is part of the work we do in a way. And so this cycle of the Lemurian we've referred to as the wataka. Now I've got to go back to the light language. I've got to go back to our first sounds, because we had this before that system kicked into us. Wataka, which is not a calendar, it's a system of operation that supports the creation of life. And it's not necessarily of having an incarnation of cycling in. It's an open spiral, which when it's in one plane, when you look at it, it's one line. It's a light line. It's one life, because there is no death. There is only life. There's only one light. We refer to it as a light line. And when you look at it in a certain direction, it spirals, but it's open. If you look at it from another plane, it's just a light straight line going. It's infinite. And we have these moments along the line, along this light line. There are some traumatic moments that we not want to, but experience. And some wonderful, beautiful moments we experience. And so when we transition, we say this word, we say waho, wahi. When we enter in the light, we are gifted with a very powerful gift. When we return from the light to the dark, to the outside of light, which is called returning, we gift back that gift. We give it back to each other. That's an accountability and a responsibility that is timeless to each other. So one that comes in and one that returns, that's continuous line of light, because we are light beings, and you know this. So it's not a cycle per se, although from one plane, we're spiraling because we're infinite. The thing doesn't close on the Lemurian side, but what they do on the Draconian side is they make that loop close, so you feel like you're in reincarnation in a loop trap.
Just to add some observations to that, right? So they kept us trapped in 12s. I kept wondering, why 13 royal families? Why did they get the 13? Why are they holding us in 12? So you have the 12 hours of the day, the 12 months in the year, supposedly. You have the 12 inches on a ruler, 12 grades in school, 12 supposed chakras. Are there more? Do you know what I mean? And so there's 12, signs in the zodiac. And obviously the center being the 13th, or the whole, or the holy, is where we're trying to get back to. So yeah, they kept us in that trap, and then they twisted it in the wrong direction. So if you look up at the planets are moving right to left. Do you know what I mean? The clock, if you look up, is going the other direction. If you look at a zodiac clock, or I forget what those are called, the glockenspiel maybe.
Yeah. The
Glocken something.
I know the word. Yes, go ahead.
It was in Prague, right? Anyway. Yeah, but it's those things that they kept from us. And then if you really look at how sensitive we truly are as a species, and how easily we can enter into fight or flight, how hard it is to unwind that trauma. Not hard. It takes us total surrender. We have to completely surrender back to nature. And that's not something that's easy to do when you're in a state of war. So they keep us in a state of war. They keep us in a state of trauma. They keep us in these states of mind, because it's always about states, guys. It's always about states. If you can take your consciousness into a state of pure love, pure joy, and pure bliss, the universe has to respond to it. It has to match it with an equal frequency. It cannot not. It's just like, it doesn't care if you're drawing in evil or good. It doesn't care if you're drawing in light or dark. It cares that you're drawing it in. And so when you realize that your dream state or your consciousness is the catalyst, it is the ultimate freedom card. Do you know what I mean? We are literally being given freedom in the mind and in
Absolutely.
the soul and the spirit.
Can I share something with you on the screen share,
Yeah.
if you don't mind? This is something that we've just created. We've just been able to bring this into the awareness, I don't know if you can see that.
Yeah.
Let me just blow up the screen here.
It's all about the seasons.
Okay, so this is the wataka. This is the Lemurian system of operating, included the birth signs of Lemuria. Let it focus. It's got to focus in. So this is freedom. This is a freedom system operating liberation and opportunity, right? We have this opportunity. For March, in summarizing, March, it's opened up channels and opened up spaces that's offered so much opportunity, and it's about to be realized in this next coming month. Well, this next 3 months. If we go from January to September, we're talking a 369 procedure, and we are talking about a gestation period of energy that's going to flash in September, which is the spring. September is the springtime. And if you look on this Lemurian calendar, my birth sign is the hummingbird in February. It's no longer Aquarius. It's never been Aquarius. It's never been those languages of Draconian. It's never been that. It has always been about our star families and our relationships to the nature, and there is a right relationship. You feel good, you feel bad. Everybody wants to feel good, and it's okay. We've had enough of feeling bad and pain and sorrow. And this wataka represents everything at the primary level, all of existence, of all planets and of all beings, at the very fractal level. Masculine and feminine is the blue and the red. When you speak the codes of the blue, you're speaking masculine sovereignty. When you speak the codes of the red, you're speaking feminine sovereignty. When you speak them both together, you are merging both polarities into one. And then the entire system of kaha, which you call chakra, which kaha means source power, brings all chakra systems into one chakra system and not 12. Even though there's 12 here, but there's 12 and there 12 around the one. That the one is omnipresent. The one is an omnipresent. You are omnipresent. We do have the representative of the 12s. It was represented on the planet because there are 12. There are constellations on the planet, and there are constellations above. As above, so below. So as below, so above. We know where the constellations are on the planet as well as above. And you won't find it in the Greek language. You will not find it in the Roman. You will only find it in the Lemurian, because they have been placed there when the continents were first arrived. And there are 12 continents on this planet. And this is a sphere. This is a sphere. Now, this calendar, this system, wataka, which is your birth month?
September 29th.
Boom. You can either be in the dove or you can be in the lamb.
Okay.
Now, because the dove each month goes to 28 days precisely. So you can either be, in the lamb, or you can be in the one, which is the one, the energy, source energy. You have a choice. So from 29, those energies are returned into source energy, like between seasons, right? You take the energy between the seasons, and they make up the 13. But the energies between seasons, it is all about the seasons, because it's all about the energy, right? So you can either decide, oh, I want to be omnipresent, I'll go into the one, or I think I'll go into the Lamb. It starts at 1. So you can go to the Lamb, which is the Kirihi, which is about the Golden Fleece, all the revealing. The wool is being pulled from the eyes for the revealing. That's what it's about with the Golden Fleece. You have taken back your wool from your eyes and the eyes of others, and now you wear your cloak of Golden Fleece. So you can be of that. That's available. And this energy, this being, that family will support you as you were born standing on your 2 feet, not on your head at sea.
And I want everyone to know that this is available to you. The Golden Fleece is literally like going through the veil of fear. But as you continue to go through that veil and you just continue to go through the fear, you unwind to that golden light energy, that golden oneness. And the gold is the milk and the honey. It's what was promised to the Israelites when they left Egypt. It's the milk and the honey, the pituitary and the pineal gland coming together as a golden light body, which is what you are. That's the sacred secretion. People need to understand that you are the tree of life. You are God's gift, the mother goose. Do you know what I mean? With the golden eggs.
Absolutely. And so when we share the wataka, for instance, Yeshua, Isis, Jeshua, Jesus, we say he's born in September. He's born in the dove. And this is why what's coming in September, where we say in the Lemurian, that's when the flash is, because the Christ embodiment of the Christ physical body is in September as you go into the Lamb, on the way to the Lamb. And when we say September in terms of this, not just the consciousness, is a birthing of the anchoring of the physical form of your Christ light. And so exactly what you're saying, as you're going, but we're going counterclockwise to see it. This is a stop image capture of the torus field. And it carries
looking down at it, right? Looking down from the crown.
You can look down, you can look right like in front of you. You can look up from all around if you feel.
But what I understand, is just coming to me through intuition, is that if you're looking down, let's just say this graphic is you looking down at someone's crown chakra. Yeah. And their light body is producing almost like waves, like a flower of life. And every time it cycles throughout the body, it is producing a different color. And then that it's also shifting. So there's movement to it, but there's also you yourself are generating these colors, if you will. Yes. And the more you open your torus field and the more you become aware and open to these colors, the more whole you become, the more holy, the more aware, the more conscious, the more available. And then when you open your meridian lines, the connectors, it's like literally roots of a tree. Connectors can go all the way through your body. They can extend beyond your feet.
Absolutely. And as you share it this way, many will look at this and find ways to orientate to it. Yes. Because it's multidimensional. It's actually, it doesn't stop moving. I just happened to stop it so we could look at it.
Well, and I wanted to ask you, since you're on the, you said the Lemurian calendar, is that similar to the 13-month Mayan calendar?
No, it is the 12 around one, but the Mayan calendar still holds codes from the Draconian and the Anunnaki. This is not that. This is this is the light calendar. Okay. So when we say this is the time when the Mayan calendar ended in March 8th, 2021. It fully ended then, and it moved into the light calendar. It means it returned to Lemuria. It meant returned to the relationship, right relationship, because there's so much ego in the Mayan calendar. So a lot of ego. There's a lot of ego in there. There's a lot of wishy-washy stuff. And then realigning it back into, like, everything moves back to the blueprint.
So do you think we're going to change time? Do you think just like during the first coming, there's going to be another change of time on the second coming?
We need a couple of years to go through all of that, because that's why I have the Dragon Masters course. Because in here, when you go to the Motus, these little beings, the birth signs, they're not zodiacs, they are called Motu. They do not hold months or days, weeks, or hours, or minutes, or seconds. There's no such thing as time in this. There's just moment by moment, moments that you choose where you're going to spend your moment, what you're going to do spending your moment. In other words, it's why time has been confusing the last couple of days. If you noticed, this past month, things changed within the time zones. Is now EDT and EST. And I don't change time zones because I'm so close to the equator, and you don't change to that. I don't know the reason why you don't change, but everything else is changing around us and spinning. That's just causing confusion. That's what it's meant to do. Time is meant to cause, they use it to cause confusion. In here, there is no time. In here, there is light zones, moments of light. And the seasons, energies fuel that moment that you can attach to, and you can fuel it as well, as you mentioned, right? So when you learn more in this, you begin to lose time. Forget the time disappeared. Got nothing to do with time. It's incredible, but it does take a jump from the draconian system that you're so used to, from the clock tower of Rome, to what we are as light beings, which is infinite. So with no time, this is infinite. But in a moment, right, in one split moment, one light second, let's say a light second, you have been there and back again everywhere. And
it does seem like that right now. Like,
yeah.
And I don't know what you call it, so I'll just say infinite spirit will give you an idea, like, oh, maybe we need you over here. And then the very next day, nope, we don't need you, we got it covered. You're like, oh, exactly. Okay, I guess I did that in some other reality.
Exactly. We call that the Waidua.
Okay.
Waidua. So you can kind of say, why do this, why do that?
Why do it?
Why do it? And the Waidua refers to infinite eternal memory.
Because there's an infinite number of instances of you.
Well, including ancestral potentiality memory, things you're from the future already. You are. We all are. Many are. Many who are awake and aware to this know we are from the future. We have already built the things, and we're just coming here to guarantee that to remind others and to guarantee that it takes place.
But I get the sense that we keep getting better at it, Huna. Like this isn't our first rodeo, and we just keep getting better, and they just can't stop us.
Exactly. I'm not saying that's all there is. Yeah, no. And so from this perspective of the Waidua, my understanding what God is the infinite eternal light of the child who is undiscovered, to be discovered, and occasionally rediscovers itself to be undiscovered again, to be discovered.
It's so cool when you get discovered. Can I just say that to people? I'm telling you, let go and let God, and he will discover you in ways you've never been discovered. It's like we spend our whole lives trying to fight for attention or something. But when you surrender into the imagination, it's like that particle, it's like a photon, which is a light. It's just an offering. It's a wave offering. It's like a resonance pattern or a wave that's going out of the universe. Like, here I am, God, put me in play, put me in, and next thing you know, when he receives you, or when the angels receive you, or when the universe receives you, it's like that observer effect in quantum physics, where that photon becomes a particle. And when you observe something different, that thing starts to change. And so when you get recognized and noticed and notified by the eternal, you come alive. You just come online. And it's so fun to be noticed in imagination first, and then it manifests in the physical if you are trapped in this three-dimensional timeline.
Absolutely. You may wonder why there are Hunas, or what is a Huna?
All I know is you remind me of Maui, so I went and watched Moana yesterday.
I get that a lot. Trust me, I get that a lot.
I want to meet a demigod.
I'm his big brother.
I bring the heart of Tahiti. Just kidding. I have a
yes, I do. I carry mother right here. For instance, Maui means the descendant of heaven. That's what Maui means.
Oh, cool.
And it's also in the Arabic language, Maui. In the Persian language, there is Maui, the name Maui in the Persian language. It also means holy warrior in the Mahdi, which is also Maori, which I'm Maori from New Zealand on that iteration. As a Maori, I am from the sub-tribes of Lemuria, and we still carry the language and the coding from first Lemuria. And there was a moment, because it's all a moment, but there is a moment, and we share that, and we share this from there. So Maui, when you're saying this, you too are Maui, you too are Maori, you are a child of heaven, you are a child of the ultimate eternal consciousness of the light of the child. You are so infinite, all are so infinite, the most eternal, the most infinite essence to discover itself. And this is what Maui means. Okay, and there is Maui, but there are other family members, I have to say.
Yeah,
There are
did you
other.
say you're the big brother of Maui?
Yeah, there's
How
expressions.
do you teach people how you let go into the knowing of these things?
Well, it takes a lot. It's hard to say here in this five. That's a question that is so loaded. But I will say this. They're laughing at me. I will say this. I am Mauta Kumara Taki, which is not a name. It is an essence of my light. It can't be spoken in the fraudulent language of English. It cannot be spoken directly, clearly in the translation. But in the 9 senses, you will feel me. Okay, in the 9 senses. And so Mauta Kumara Taki, as well as Maui, is not a name. It's a light essence and light in action. As our light has a certain action, for instance, when the wind blows through the trees, is it the wind making the sound or is it the trees? There's no such thing as wind and there's no such thing as trees. There is only the energy. And what is the energy saying? Whoosh.
I have another way of translating that I think is kind of interesting.
Yeah.
Can we go full screen again just so I can feel your
Okay.
essence even more? So
Let me
like
up that.
I think it was Close Encounters of the Fifth Kind. I've said this on my channel a few times, but I think it's Dr. Michael Greer. He was talking about how there was this experiment and they had a light on a swivel in the middle of a room. So think of like a 10 by 10 room, light on a swivel at the top and a plant right in the middle of the room. And of course, the plant's getting the light so it can thrive. But when you move the plant into the corner of the room, a week later, the light will be pointing directly at the plant on the swivel. So did the plant draw the light or was the light drawn to the plant? And I really think it's both. It's an interaction. And even scientists say that they don't know how the plant uses or bends light to create photosynthesis, you know? And so ultimately what people I didn't know till now is that you're actually bending light and bending reality by what you believe and what you read into, what you see in the 3D matrix. So some people might think, oh, you're reading into that too much, or, oh, you saw that number and you thought it meant this, and therefore you're crazy. It's like, no, what I think is what I'm creating. So what you bend, it's almost like that scene in the Matrix where he pushes the zeros and ones out and they come back and he pushes them back out. He's just breathing. He's just feeling the essence,
Exhale.
the energy around him.
That's a wonderful expression, what you share. And so the plant is also electromagnetic voltage. It's already voltage. It's already light. It's not a plant.
There you go. And that you could bring that back to the thought. A thought is electrical, right? And the emotion is magnetic,
Yes.
right? So when they come together, they create that particle. And
there's
that's what's sending it out into the wave, the waves of the universe.
And that's how we recognize each other.
Yeah.
That's the vibration.
It doesn't matter how far away we are. It's like
doesn't matter. No. Well, there's 9 senses, okay? You think you can pick out, you know 6, right? But can you pick the last 3?
Okay.
Sorry, I didn't mean to put you on the spot.
No, I love it.
Sweet, sweet dear ones are watching you.
Let me just take a deep breath and let me see what my intuition comes back with. Okay, so the unseen realm, you're basically asking, how do we interact with the unseen realm? With what senses? Right?
Well, you can name them, you can speak them, 3 of them
Okay.
at the micro level.
Okay. Well, I think that we have antennas above our head that are the halo effect. That's what they were presenting in the paintings of the apostles. I believe that you have different antennas, so you can communicate through telepathy. You can communicate through frequency.
That's already one of the 6.
Okay. Okay. You can
What is
communicate
7, 8,
through
9?
sight or visualization.
That's one of the 6, though. You know the 6.
Oh shoot. Okay, so it's not intuition. It's not like receiving wavelengths that are coming. I don't know.
Okay, let me share, and it's just wonderful. But it is a sense. They're all senses. It's I see you, I hear you, I touch you, I smell you, I taste you, I can sense you. That's telepathic, right?
Okay, that's so 6
That's
is
6.
telepathy.
Yeah. You can say telepathy, or you can say sense you, or I feel you. That's still telepathic, right? Okay. Now, what is 7? Because I have 6. Because of these 6s, I
I
remember.
resonate with you.
No, that's still I feel.
Okay.
I remember you.
Okay.
Because I remember you, I know you, and knowing you is huge, right? That's a huge. They're probably not senses. They're probably a whole more. We're getting into a profound area. Because I know you, I am you.
Hmm.
And through the 6 to find the 9, right? To find the other 3, to find the total 9. That there's a convergence, an amalgamation. There's a returning from the many into the one, and from the one into the many, through those senses. We call
And
them
through a resonance pattern. So it's like if we can adjust our resonance, we can effectively change any density in reality.
Well, if you remember me and I remember you, it's all on, isn't it?
It's on.
Right? It's on.
Because if we can mirror each other too, right? The mirror effect is so powerful because when you can mirror the knowing, then the universe can see itself in its own mirror, in its own reflection. And that's really where the beauty happens, because we exit the state of karma and we enter the state of dharma.
Exactly. There's and it exists wholly, that you can access that in the 9 senses immediately. There is a lesson that we had already learned, and that is one that we had always known for so long, and it's something that we forget. We forget that we've tasted each other. We forget that we've seen each other. We forget we've heard each other. We forget that we've smelt each other. We forget that we felt each other. We forget that we tasted each other. Seen each other. And then we forget we remember each other. Then we forget that I knew this once. And then we forget who we are.
Yeah. Well, we need balance. I mean, we really need balance. I'm just saying, like, man, I can't wait for the masculine and feminine energies to come back into balance, because like you said, some of the women are struggling so hard to release their lower chakras, and the men are struggling so hard to release their air chakras, so that we can come back into synergy and balance. And so I remember you, Huna. I appreciate you so much for bringing me on today. And I so appreciate your message. I want to do it again.
When I saw you, I remembered you as well. And that was probably a couple of years ago now. Hey, I know this person. Right. And we have a saying that goes Kimuria, which means good. It's the essence of Lemuria, actually, which refers to, oh, you're back again. Good to see you. You're back again. Give me a hug. That's Kimuria, right?
Oh,
Is there a question? That. Is there a question out there, everybody? And Tamake, do you see a question in with the sweet dear ones? Any questions out there? Yeah, do you have a question? I guess we're kind of going over the things, but I have a question for you, actually. This past month in March, what's come about, and I was talking about the summarizing, wrapping up the turtle, what the turtle has presented to us. Are you witnessing and seeing things being taken back.
Yes.
Are you witnessing the take back?
It's funny because I feel like I've been buying turtles for the house. I have like 3 turtles in my house, and so I've been very aware of the what is the shoots that the turtles get into that take them so far, the sea turtles.
I don't know.
Do you know what I'm talking about? When they get someone help us out in the chat. It's like when the turtles get in those like those tubes and they just go shooting away, and it's in like Finding Nemo. You know what I'm talking about. Anyway,
the vortex.
The vortex, yeah, the turtles get into. I feel like several of us jumped in a vortex and we're just ready to come out in all new space-time reality. And we've birthed, it's almost like we've moved exactly where we need to move. And there's this energy of wisdom, knowledge, and I don't know, synergy. And that's really been coming up for me. I know for me, I've been releasing so much trauma. I don't think the world has any idea how much detox we're about to do.
Yeah. Oh my goodness. We have experienced, there's been experience of detox. I woke up at age 7. I'm trained and tutored by my elders in the mystery schools. My people are a sub-tribe of Lemuria. So are the Mayans, so are the Quechua, the Africans, some of the Native American tribes, of quite a few others, of the 5 root races. And we talk about detoxing over the generations, not just individual detoxes on our huge numbers of tribes, right? Detoxing the tribes that we had gone through, and the lessons that we had already known, but okay, we had to fight back because the detoxing, which is, of course, being brought upon us. And we, at times, let it happen. Has to happen. Certain things, certain energies had to move. If we were too stubborn to move them ourselves, it was going to get moved somehow.
Yeah, or it
on a
bottles up.
tribal level, on an individual level, as you're saying. And the thing about it now is because of a lot of that had taken place within certainly the tribes, including the Vikings and the Siberians and the Sami and the Inuit and everybody. The toxins these energies being purged out of our systems and out of our routines that we are used to, as nature has brought us to, and we're purging out all these infections. And so, not just in the body as we individually, but in whole groups and communities, and you're seeing that, right?
Well, we've been taught the wrong way. Oh my gosh, in America, Huna. Oh,
yeah.
Even my daughter, who's 13, is able to look upon me and say, "Mom, why do you worry about me so much? How does worrying about me help?" And I just love that she brought me right back to the matrix and to question my programming and to say, "Good question. I have no idea," because my mom did, or because I was taught that way. My tribe, taught me to worry, and that didn't help. That's not helping. That's not serving our children at all. We need to be speaking upon them with pure joy and faith and love and patience and honoring their path and sanctifying their path. Like, I just want to share with people, like, for me, this is all brand new knowledge coming in through the quantum field that I didn't have growing up. So many of us didn't have this foundation that you had laid for you, Huna, where you could see the magic happening among a community of believers. Supposedly Jesus had to remove all the non-believers before he could resurrect Lazarus, because you have to have believers to do these rituals. It cannot happen without the ritual. And I really wanted to ask you about rituals, because you brought that up in our last call, and I would love to speak to you about this, because there's something I'm really being drawn to share, if it's okay.
No, it's fine. Absolutely. Do you want me to reply first, or you go ahead? Go ahead.
Go ahead and reply.
There are a number of ceremonies that are here now that I'm sharing, and that we are participating in together with the Hunas that have not been on the planet for thousands of years. Ceremonies or programming, coding, ritual, they are the same thing. The nefarious ones had taken our ceremonies and used it in certain ways, not stolen, the codes belong to them too. But they used like everything in a certain way as an intention. But it's also the same codes can be also transmuted over into light codes as well. There are ceremonies, and there are ways to do this without shedding the blood. Okay, with defeating the blood ceremonies, and it's quite possible. And it is what we have been doing. The Hunas do ceremonies all over the world on certain places, at stargates, particular stargate systems of certain frequencies. Now, there are actual stargates, and stargates, proper stargates, you cannot transport through. You cannot fly a ship through them, because the proper stargate system for the new Earth, you cannot fly low vibration frequency machinery through it. You won't have access. It doesn't matter even if it's an organic system. You cannot transport and ship souls through a stargate. Those are portals, and there's a difference. And there's all kinds of portals that had been used, right? And used for war. So we have ceremonies that can shut down access to certain use of certain portals and shut those portals down, and also reset frequencies for higher vibration stargates that are actually have only one thing and one thing only that will be used for, and that is the child of light is the only being that will be traveling through those stargates at the very highest frequencies. And so part of my being here, if we can say, whether it's me dreaming or if it's whatever I say I'm doing, it's certainly what is happening on this planet. And I have been doing for over 3 decades. Now, these ceremonies, one is I refer to now as speaking of as the cracking. And then there's another one that's referred to as the apex protocol, apex pyramid protocol, which is a reaching in through a portal and pulling out what doesn't serve. And there's also the seal, which is an acronym for source element ascension light, which is something that I do that initiates and activates the one in the many and the many in the one, which is where the Huna is, the sound of the nameless one, the infinite one. And that you've been hearing some of them now, Huna Kawahori, she who is of the first birth and the first love, who gives all from the seed of light. That's what Kawahori means. An action, referring to her light essence in action. It's not a name, it's an essence. And so there are these ceremonies, and we go on location. I have the map of all 48 stargates assigned to the light of the child.
Really?
The extent light of the child. I have the map and also the operating systems for it. And so many over the last...
Throughout the U.S., or sorry, throughout the world, you have the map.
Yes, the 12 continents. The 48 stargates on the 12 continents that are pertaining directly to the child of light. And the child of light has not entered yet. Not even in your consciousness. This is very important understanding, is not to enter at this time into such distortion. We are still processing this planet in terms of we, us, Dreamtime, whatever. We are all doing the good work to repair what had damaged in the wars of the last major big war, which was Lemuria 4, which was a comet that we weaponized during that war to create the Gulf of Mexico. That was 60 million years ago. And that's before Atlantis. Okay. So the technology is in the millions, and we have and so when we are talking about repairing things, all of that had to be reset, and portals also were forced from out of Orion. You call it Orion, many call it Sirius. You have these lower vibration names from Draconia, right? And the beings themselves don't even call themselves Syrian. They don't even call themselves Pleiadian. Right? In their languaging, it's again similar to the Lemurian sounds, because we are ultimately of the Lemurian civilization, many in the one and one in the many from the star beings. in our imagination, even in our memory, which is deeper than the imagination. So it's like not deeper, but guarantees. It guarantees the imagination, right? So these are some of the things that I have espoused in my work over since I was tutored from the mystery school of the special bird, and from my huna. My huna was Arakahana da Piripiti Paniariki or Manuariki. That's who my teacher was, my elder. And Nuku Ihaka to Wirihana Ngahuka, which was another one. And Zina Marie, Tangiwai Marie Nahuka Ngatoko was also my mother and father. Not to mention my grandfather, Ngatoko Rahipere, and my grandmother and my eldest, but certainly strong from the mystery schools brought by our elder through there.
Can I just want to shed light on that. That is so beautiful that you brought those names forth, because it is so essential now that we mentor each other, that we as old souls start to mentor some of the younger souls and see that as a gift, because there's no better blessing than you can give than teaching people how to create or manifest in this realm. And it's all through faith. So the greater and the deeper the knowledge and the knowing and the understanding and the remembrance. So you just brought that forth to me. I didn't know. I thought it was all about faith and belief and knowing that what's coming through the imagination is truth, but I didn't know that it was memory. So when it's memory, it's a stronger truth. It creates a stronger particle. It creates a stronger observer effect. Guys, this is creating reality even faster. If you want to understand how this is working, you got to read between all the lines. And this man knows exactly what he's talking about and to into the field because of his mentors. There's nothing of a greater gift we can give our young or anyone that is interested in following in this path than mentorship.
Absolutely. In my 3+ decades, and in the last 10 years, the last decade, I have had seal ceremonies for thousands of huna. Thousands, literally one at a time, organically. And so I am so fortunate and I say lucky. You know, there was a moment when I was asked to share and I did not want to. I kept saying, no, there's no way I'm going to share. Are you kidding me? I'm not going out there and get jumped on. Yeah.
Me too.
And this was,
it took a lot of bravery for a lot of us to come forward. Can I just tell
this was before fax machines, right?
Yeah.
And I'm like, no, I don't want to do it. Okay. But then what I realized is that I wasn't sharing what I had. I was being gifted from them. And I realized after all this time, you know, I'm so lucky to have the Hunas support all the Hunas that are with us in our community today, worldwide in 30 countries now. And we all go to stand together in one way or another, 3 or 4 Hunas, 2 or 1. They're doing ceremonies every day, Miki. Every day they are flying to Egypt, they are flying to Russia, they are flying to the Ukraine, they are flying to the UK, to the USA, everywhere, Australia, New Zealand. There's a Huna out there somewhere doing a ceremony. I guarantee it. Because we are connected.
I didn't understand I didn't understand how to do proper ceremonies. Even when you started asking me, what do you do for ceremony? I was like, man, I'm meditating. That's what I was thinking in my head. But I didn't realize just how much power is in a ceremony. And when you make something sacred and you make something like you look into the smaller or finer details, you're creating the macro details. Do you know what I mean? Like when you allow things to come through and you allow things to be, you basically said, because you said there was a process before you sealed. You said was there light that would come through, and then there was another phase, and then there was the sealing?
Yeah, the part of the process, actually. So source element ascension light, when I go into, I can do this in person and sometimes also do it on StreamYard now, better than Zoom, StreamYard. The connection right away, you know, they come to me. They sign up and they come to me. And they say, I've seen you before. I want to do this. That's the first thing. Is they see you and they remember you.
And they're ready and they remember.
And because they remember, they come right in.
Oof.
And I'm expensive, Miki. I'm very expensive. And I don't say that because I'm trying to make money. I want you to be serious about what it is you're doing and what you want to do. If not, walk away. Because when you get in here with me, you're going to get flashed. Your system will get flashed, lit all the way through. So you're either going to understand this and want this and go, I want to get flashed. I need to blow stuff out, or don't, you know. I can't tell you where to go, you know. I can't tell you who to go to. Just, I don't know where you could go for that. Are you're going to go inside yourself and do it? I've seen that, and I've seen the results of that for many years, decades. I've seen the results of that. So I am, you know, for me, it's not about advertising it, and I share about what's going on, but it's not about, they come to it organically. That's the first thing that takes place. And it's very powerful for them when they have seen and spoken to somebody who's received the seal. There are tears from the residue energy that's still available, that's coming off them, that came from the seal ceremony. And years down the road, months down the road, the energy is still residue, right? And so, but here's the thing, Miki, and I share this with everybody. You have to get yourself ready. Prepare yourself for this. You'll say you're the crystal light and you're coming into the crystal light being. Don't just say it. What are the pieces that you have not done and that you have not spoken? Speak the things you have never spoken. Do the things you have never done that's going to bring the energy to you. In other words, pulling of the rods of God within you, which is a voltage system that gets expanded. You must at least have your sphere out here. That's the basic tenets, the very simple things of your energy, not just by what you eat, Miki. And it's got nothing to do with what you eat, actually. It's got everything to do with your consciousness and your heart and the passion you must carry for humanity. Being accountable and responsible to each other is where that energy, where you get to stand. And I'm proud of that. I'm not talking ego. I'm just proud. And I'll get in the kitchen and cook for you and help you if you need help. We do these things, right? But that's the basic tenets. Are you ready to, have you let go enough that are you ready to just open up and let your energy be absorbed by others and others to absorb, and you to absorb others' energy? Can you break the barriers down? Do you need guardianship and protection? Because I tell you, Miki, I don't.
I'm ready to buy a ticket to Cancun. It's too bad you're leaving tomorrow.
But this is what I share.
I'm ready. Sign me up.
You know, I walk into the second dimension and there's all kinds of beings there that we have to have a negotiation, because negotiations take place in that dimension where you call hell. We call it just the second dimension, where all kinds of negotiations take place. And there's some ugly looking things. There's some beautiful looking things.
Yeah.
Open your eyes.
I think we just stop fearing the unknown. Just open them up and just accept new knowledge. Place it on a shelf. You don't have to make it part of your system yet. But place it on a shelf, because the more you can observe this knowledge that Huna's bringing, even if it feels foreign, the more you can observe, the more you can take it in, the more you have a presence with it, the more you can remember. Exactly.
And, you know, and then just, there's this, I love this. It's from the movie Wakanda Forever. Yeah. And this is an expression that the Mayans were doing on that show, like this. One hand is to receive, one is to give. I share this a lot now. It's beautiful. It is a wonderful ancient expression that takes you from this position to this.
Because we are transmitters and receivers.
Exactly. And you said it earlier. And that's an expression of it. And there's energy in that.
Sometimes people just like to know how things work.
Well, some do, right? And it's okay. If you don't want to know, fine, don't know. If you want to know, right, we try to share things. Right? You, as somebody said, you climb up a mountain, there's many pathways to the mountain, but you'll get to the top. Yeah, but also some people are struggling up that mountain, and we got to help them up. Not only from the bottom, but and ideally pull them from the top.
Yeah. Well, and I think the way showers are moving energies to make it safer. You know, we're building roads and bridges in a way. spiritually, to give people that boost that they need right now, because it is a dark time. We all came to visit it. We all came to realize it. We all came to know how fast they can take our freedom in just one generation.
In your understanding, what is the tipping point for the light on this planet there's absolutely is done? There's a point. Do you have a percentage wise?
It happened on September 23rd, 2017.
What was the percentage of light at that point?
It was 100%, because there's no going back.
Absolutely. Absolutely no going back.
Yeah, it was that moment in time where we knew, where the consciousness knew that the people that are carrying the light and the torch knew.
Are you talking about? Were you talking about the harmonic convergence?
I'm talking about the sign of the Son of Man, as it was said in the prophecy of the book of Revelation, a woman clothed with the sun and the moon at her feet and the star of 12, a crown of 12 stars above her head. And she's crying out in pain because she's about to give birth. Now, this was just a prophecy written in the book of Revelation, which I know there are many prophecies that have come forth. There's the Hopi prophecy and many of your prophecies and many galactic prophecies and so on. But I think that, I just think that for me, that was my tipping point. How about that? Because we all have a different perspective. Yeah. We're all in a different timeline.
Absolutely.
So for me, I feel like that's when the heroes of this realm, really, because truly there are people here that knew what they were doing. They had to take out the cancer. It was physical. It had manifested itself in every amount of influence, including and especially not limited to the banking. And so from a macroeconomic level, I think that we had the beast. We had cut, I don't know how to say it. God had poured out his wrath over the beast, and the first seal was opened. And so that's just mine.
Yeah. No, you're right. I mean, it is 100% and in the consciousness of many. In the physical presence is what I'm getting at.
Yeah. So the way that brings out.
Energetic physical presence that manifests.
So I think maybe then what you're asking is, when do the masses realize we won?
No, not the masses. When does the land, the water, and the sky tell you it's done?
Okay,
not the masses.
Well, that is an even better question. I love it when you challenge me, Huna. Okay.
So, let me share. I can share
okay.
this because I think that's what September is all about.
Okay.
When we say the solar flash, well, we're not necessarily solar. When the God spark flash happens, we're saying September, because that will be at 88% light, physical light, into the land, water, sky, from our intentions for sure, but to manifest that anchoring in the physical Christ body embodiment of light, which is where. So what I'm saying, it's 88% is the tipping point. Not so necessarily the tipping point. That will not ever go back. It's physically guaranteed there, not just consciously, but physically anchored into the physical crystal being from September. And that will be 88% light.
And 88 comes to Trump 88.
I know where it comes to. I am familiar with Tom very much. And the numbers are quite familiar.
Maybe that's when the trumpet will play.
And absolutely. I feel that that's what the flash is going to be. But you're right in terms of how you live your life from the moment it dawned on you consciously. I'm 100%. Well, you're right, because that's what helps us stand up and empowers us, right? Powers our being.
That's what I needed, by the way. I needed to know we won so that I could speak with authority and power. I knew I had to come forth with as much energy and power as I could from, I don't even know. It was the greatest story ever told. I was like, we got to bring it forth, but I didn't know. I just I knew that we'd won.
I'm not trying to put you on the spot.
No, it's okay. But I'm just trying to say, I think for a lot of truthers out there, we were walking in faith and we were putting our families at risk. There were times that even my daughter was having premonition that a man would pull out a gun and shoot her in a car down at the bus stop. I was going down there every day to protect her, even in the gated community, because we were in danger when some of this truth was coming out, guys. Like, we're in the front line. You know, you don't just go out and wage war against the school districts and not have some death threats. Okay. But if we hadn't known that we were winning, that we'd won, we wouldn't be walking in such clear faith and listening to the guidance above on when it was safe to do what, to deliver information. We are all part of God's army. We are activated now, you know? And so every single person watching and listening and tuning into this is part of his army. And you have a perfect divine part in this spiritual journey. And it's beautiful. You came here for this very time to show your stuff. And so it's just, I don't know. I feel like we're entering into the glory realm, you know, like the golden age.
So when you're asking, you know, what ceremonies do you do? Here's one that the abuela would say, the elders from the Mayan and also Quechua, Peruvian, that you are the ceremony.
You are.
Your
whole life is a ceremony.
You are the ceremony, whatever your life is, but you
and it's glorious
ceremony. And okay, yeah. And you know, there are ceremonies that are going to be able to reach a certain point of intensity and penetration.
Dream big, people.
Absolutely. And back it up.
Yeah. Back it up with ritual, back it up with strategy, and like change your habits and just let go of bad stuff because you're worthy.
And we get to confirm each other by this way of doing our ceremonies, being of the ceremony. Nothing is wrong. Everything is right.
Yeah.
Sweet, sweet dear ones.
And you're exactly where you're meant to be.
You know? And this is the aggregate. This is the aggregate. This is the summary of all of this aggregate and energies. You know, take it back. So for Honu Motu and the theme summarizing, and thank you for being here for this. Take it back. We took it all back, and we're taking more back. Changing of the systems and the banking systems through BRICS is forcing the hand of the multipolar civilization, not one world order, but many worlds order. And we can order pizza. We can own to order things. We can order this to own it. We can work with each other. That's it. And the planets are aligned. The stargates are aligned. There is light in the dark, the Tupor, and there is dark in the light with the Tuahi. Everything reflects each other as we are twin stars. In the one, we are twin stars within ourselves. And then the codes, what codes? Light codes. We're talking about time. We operate by light zones, not light time. And so the light codes are replacing light time. Replacing time is light zones, light codes replacing time. And there's a whole myriad of other things.
I want to speak to that too, if I can. This is
yes,
really...
please do. Hey, we can go if you want to go a little longer. We're getting close. Yeah, getting hungry. I'm getting hungry, Miki.
Are you getting hungry? Okay, maybe we'll
go
wrap
ahead.
up for next
time. I want
time.
to get this last wrap up that you got.
All right. Well, in the United States, at least, we're in a hamster wheel. I mean, people are working really, really hard to make a living. Like, we were told that we were a first world country, and I know that other countries live in much more dire situations. So I can't speak for every other, country out there. We're coming into a mixing of the waters, a mixing of traditions, a mixing of everything good. Hopefully, we leave everything bad behind, right? But for those that are in the thick of it, the ones that are in total survival mode, as in they have to work every day. They don't have time to dream. They don't have time to think. You know what I mean? They really are in that rat race. It is about starting to change your mentality. And if you change your mentality, everything else will start shifting around you. I decided to go into a deep healing. And part of my healing is letting go of all the trauma that I keep in my whole entire lower chakra system. And I think a lot of women are under extreme trauma because this has not been a safe place to bear children. It even says in the Bible at the end times prophecy that woe to the women who are carrying babies, because we carry a lot of tension and fear, even in bringing children into this realm right now. And so all that's being unwound. We are literally able to forgive and forget and to let go of any and all traumas, from all the poison in the food, the air, the water, releasing all the traumas from that which has been, even conspired against us. And so I was asking God, and you could say God, you could say Holy Spirit, you could say Jesus, you can say a Christ consciousness, another one that I'm connected to. And he said to me the other night, he said, I can give you any information you need on that now. And I said, okay, I want to know how immaculate healing works. I want to know now. I need to know. And so he placed his hand on my tummy. I was having a visualization. And he said, I'm going to teach you now how this works. He said, I can infuse light codes into every single cell of your entire midsection. And I can release any and all trauma, pain, suffering, or suffrage. But if you don't work with me, and if you don't now recondition your mind to send that same thought, feeling, will, and emotion to every single cell and continue to offer that thought to every single cell after I leave, then it will not hold. In other words, if you feel fear or pain or lack or suffering, it will continue to perpetuate itself until you choose and decide that you're going to send a different thought, feeling, or emotion inwardly. And now I'm talking in the inner realms. They call it underworld, but I think it's the inner world. I think when we effectuate change in our inner world, we are effectuating it in the macrocosm. And so when we start to release these things and we start to believe in the power of our thoughts, the power of our intentions, the power of our mind, the power of the fact that it's affecting every single cell in your body, you can heal anything. And you can move energies through the light body. You can move them forward and back. You are not the physical avatar. The physical avatar is just a fraction or a figment of your imagination. So when you change the thought, you change the feeling. You change the outcome. You release pain.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Incredible. And that was inspired by that photo that you showed of the bath. You said you did rituals in the bath and you had candles.
Yes, the healing lagoon. Yes. And let's carry on this, because you're absolutely correct. Somebody asked me, Kaiwa, some time ago, months ago now, she asked me if I could do some healing work for her dog. And she was in Vancouver at the time, but she called me, can you do some healing for the dog? I said, sure, send me a photo. She sent me a photo of the dog. And then, then I went to sleep. So I just went to sleep. I had a great sleep. And I woke up the next morning and she called me, says, wow, the dog's up running around, spinning counterclockwise. And going you see these lambs and the cows lately going counterclockwise. Dog was running counterclockwise, all excited. And
he's unwinding.
Yeah, I'm doing it. And then she asked me, what did you do? I said, I just went to sleep.
With the intention of setting the dog free.
Exactly.
Dogs and animals are so happy to release, whereas us in our overthinking mind,
And that's exactly it. You're right about everything. But we can also get caught up in the overthinking. Sometimes we get a bit nervous. So sometimes we get, I don't have faith in that. And so I just sometimes say, well, go to sleep. Just take a look at the image, the person, whatever the problem issue is, and then go sleep, go and lay down. And send everything you have just through the dream time. Dream your dream, and everything will be better.
Yeah.
Including the dog. So,
I always wanted to believe it was in my mind. I really did. It was like I was begging the universe to help me prove that it's in my mind. It's not just about the food you change or the things. And yes, that too. You have to look upon the food and love it and be gracious for it and gratitude and think of where it came from. And, even this morning when I was blending my smoothie, I was like, man, it seems a little abrupt. This poor fruit's getting all tossed around in a blender. You know what I mean? Like when it's coming from all over the world, if it was all coming from my garden, it would be all the same frequency. At least it wouldn't be so shocked. I'm tossing it around with food from all. But at the same time, like these are just divine things we're becoming aware of. This is the rapture. It's becoming aware of divine things, learning how to walk in pure harmony and unison with our earth. And I really think this is fascinating. I had a girlfriend who was brought up in the Lakota tribes here. And she said that the ancient tribal women would have like an insider joke. They said, if you killed all the birds tomorrow, the earth would die. If you killed all the trees, the earth would die. If you took away the oceans, the earth would die. But if you took away the humans, the earth would just thrive. And I remember thinking, oh man, we are not being good stewards over this earth. Oh my gosh, what do we need to change? Because obviously we're not here for no reason. We are here to help protect Mother Earth. We're here to guide her. And so your ultimate question was, at what point does Earth get to finally start healing? And we share the same holographic DNA projection as the Earth. So I don't actually think the Earth can start healing until we give it those codes, until we allow our healing and until we come forth, because I do think that we are a big part of the earth shifting.
We absolutely are. Plastic belongs to the planet. It comes from the planet. Radiation and nuclear fusion and energy. What happened to Japan? All the radiation in the ocean got eaten up by the planet because it belongs to the planet. Everything on this planet, pollution, otherwise, whatever you want to name it, belongs to the planet. So microwaves, frequencies you don't feel so good around, it belongs to the planet. It's what this being, to be a being like this planet and to be a star, there is a minimum of 5 billion years you have to be capable of meditating for 5 billion years to become a planet.
Is that it?
Planetary being. And so Buddha, when Buddha went in, is that equivalent of 500,000 years he was capable of meditating to start moving into that area where he will become a planet, a planetary being. And so when we sit with the Earth, Mother Earth, how many Mother Earths were there? Do you remember?
Well,
Do you remember their name?
Just to be clear, are you suggesting that you meditate enough and then you move up into the consciousness of a planet? Because you're just consciousness holding physical form, right? So you're just leveling up to the next level of macrocosm.
You and then you bring mass to that. You bring form.
Okay, so then because there's responsibility in that knowing.
So here's a part of
tremendous responsibility in that knowing.
Absolutely. Okay. And so beings like Buddha and masters, ascended masters are moving into those areas. So who do we have? If we have this being, this planet that was once called Tara, once called Maya, she was once called Sophia, and then she was called Gaia, and now she's called Matea, which means the planet of new light. And this is something to be shared amongst all, that Gaia has ascended into another level of consciousness that has an energetic field, an energy field that far exceeds Gaia. And Matea is holding that field. Why? Because we have been witness to this change of the energy that is no longer Gaia. And you know this, except there's still some lack of vocabulary, and not you in general, there's a different vocabulary. Because speaking Matea is now to speak in a planet of much higher light, of which we are. And that's Gaia ascended. So when you speak to the being's energy essence itself, the ascension of the being is already here. And so where did all the ability of this planet, if we are not here, this planet can sustain itself, of course. Even if we are here, this planet can sustain itself. And because we are here, we are in the consciousness of supporting this planet, of which we are. Now, another instance is planet Malduk, or Maldek, I forget the name, how to say it. It's an asteroid field, right? The asteroid field around this planet, around in the solar system, was once a planet, and it was exploded. And it was said that, why is there still an asteroid field? It's because there's consciousness holding that asteroid field together, and it's pulling itself back into form. And it's been spoken a long time ago that planet will recreate itself by sheer meditation, but is only a blink of an eye on the cosmic level. And so for this Matea and for our relationship is to help that along. I feel, of course, that's just, I suppose, one of our basic tenets as stewards. And so if I can complete here with that, and if I can say thank you for doing your good work, and I've been witness to it. And everybody here, and all the sweet dear ones, sweet dearly beloveds, thank you for always supporting Huna TV and all of my journeys over the years, and bringing about our consciousness into the planet Matea, planet of new light. There is Mauna Kea, the mountain in Hawaii, which simply means the mountain of the new world. Mauna Kea means mountain of the new world. And there is Matea, the planet of new light. And these things have been waiting to be spoken. And they are being spoken now. And your way, whether that be through biblical terms and these phrases and these expressions, and we are all certainly part of what it took place for March in the Honu Motu, Turtle Island, and for the birth sign of those who are remembering through that birth sign, through the turtle we are remembering. Next month, we're going to remember through the smiling gecko, through the joy we're going to be remembering.
And can I give everyone a song to help them remember the smiling
Please.
gecko?
Please do.
I think everyone should check out A Million Dreams and the lyrics of, because that's a song that was in The Greatest Showman, a movie that I think is all about waking people up. And it basically, just to start out, says, I close my eyes and I can see a world that's waiting up for me, that I call my own, through the dark, through the door, through where no one's been before, but it feels like home. I think everyone should start dreaming a million dreams for the new earth, because it is time. She's ready.
Miki, wonderful. Sweet dear ones, sweet dearly beloveds. I will be doing my show from St. Michael's Mount in Cornwall next Sunday. I do hope you can visit. Love to chat again, Miki. And thank you for adjusting to this crazy and turbulent times we are dealing with, these time codes.
And I know you have a lot on your schedule. Do you have a schedule laid out somewhere on a website so that I can see all the places you're traveling?
If Tamaake, can you flash the website, www.houseofhuna.earth?
Okay, perfect.
And I start off while I'm going to the UK tomorrow. I do the ceremonies of the undoing and the pulling of the rods of God. And then in May, we begin the journey to Japan, to the Stargate in Japan, Stargate Uruha, Stargate Uruha, which is Stargate number 20. And then we go from Japan into Mongolia to Stargate number 21, which is the Stargate Sahi Uru. These two are very powerful Stargates next to each other that are aligned to the continent of the Albatross, which is in May. And that's the continent of all of Indonesia. Okay, there's much to share about this. Then I also will begin Dragon Masters Intensive in June 3rd and 4th, where the students will graduate at a practical intensive here in Mexico. They're flying in for their practical intensive and graduation as a Dragon Master. Then we will be doing Burning Mask in 6 countries. It'll be the 3rd year. Last year was in 6 countries. This year will be 6 different countries. Starting in the Lemurian New Year, which is in June. June is the Lemurian New Year, goes counterclockwise to May. And that is called First Light. First Light begins in the light zone of New Zealand or the island of Kiribati, where the light first touches down on the planet and has since Lemuria 1, 600 million years ago. And then Maui came along, and that's when Maui came along and switched the location to New Zealand. The story of Maui catching the sun is really about the being adjusting from 12 hours to 24-hour light zone. Starts in New Zealand.
Really?
That's why that is Lemuria. Yes.
Cool.
Yes. So these things are all confirmed, and you can Google those easily, right? And so these are some of the things I'm doing, and so many things that have been done. Missions, ceremonies of so many hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of ceremonies, Miki, and so many Hunas I'm so grateful for that have come with me. And that's all you got to do is come with me.
That's
You
pretty awesome.
want to know, come with me. Right?
Well, I'm going to check. I'm going to check all those locations. I want to learn all about that. I know nothing about stargates, and I don't understand portals yet. I want to. I remember.
Birds, the animals create portals. They're wonderful portals. They can create portals. You'll know the energy of those when you feel them. But you will also learn the energy of what a forced portal is from an agenda.
Okay.
And then the stargates themselves are in particular locations that I share to the Dragon Masters, and they learn, because they'll be going to maintain on a monthly rotation to maintain the frequencies and ensure to be stewards of the stargates and certain ley lines or the Motu grid for this planet, for Matea. We have, all the things are happening. These things are happening. We're guaranteeing these things.
It would be
Vancouver
fun to draw
Island.
attention to that, because if we can send the consciousness there as well as those unlock, that would be super interesting. To have festivals or festivities geared around reminding people how we are to be stewards of the earth, and just sending thought form, not even traveling there.
Absolutely. I share this. I share this on Facebook. A lot about what I do. And some used to say to me, why are you sharing where you're going? People will come and bother you and, try to send negative energy. I said, well, they can try, and it is for them to learn as well. Okay. But then they'll also get a lesson from that as well, depending on how you want to approach it. Okay. So,
Yeah, because, the light's coming through, whether they like it or not.
wonderful, Miki. Thank you for this wonderful series of the show today on Huna Flash TV. I hope you enjoyed it. Sweet, sweet dear ones. We'll see you back here. I'm going to be in the UK time. I'm going to be on GMT. That's going to be confusing already. Okay, so start trying to figure it out today. And maybe we will know by next Sunday exactly. It will be the evening for me in the UK, no doubt, which will be somebody's afternoon and someone's morning.
Well, it's such a pleasure, Huna. Thanks for having me on. I'd look forward to our next talk.
So much. Thank you, Miki. Wah wah. We say wah wah. We don't say goodbye. We say wah wah.
Wah wah.
Sweet, sweet, dearly, dearly beloveds. Wah wah.